Bonjour, je suis not manly, ici le voyage d'espace je ne sais quoi. This is part 8, where we're visiting Ike, the moon of Duna. Ike is about 400 kilometers diameter on average, weighs just a little bit more than Minmus does, but has about the same surface gravity. If anything, I would say this is like Minmus's twin. One solar day is about 23 hours. It is tidally locked with Duna, with only a very slight orbital inclination. Very approachable, very easy to get to. Delta V requirements, not very much, just 600 meters per second from low Duna orbit. Capturing is very little, kind of again like Minmus, and landing or ascending from Ike is roughly again like Minmus. Highlights when you get out here, it is a great mid-career target with a decent science multiplier. Low thrust weight for landing, again, much like Minmus. If you can manage that, then you can manage Ike. Lots and lots of surprises wait for you on the surface of Ike. However, be careful with rovers out here. Because it's like Minmus, rovers can be unstable. There are even more dangerous fissures at the poles, and it has a lot rougher terrain than Minmus has. When we left our heroes, they were in low Duna orbit waiting for their ejection out to Ike, Valentina, Bob, and Doug Kerbin. We're just completing their ejection now. There we go. We're aiming for a pretty high as far as low orbits go, above Ike. A gorgeous zoom out here from Duna. The terrain is just as beautiful as it was. Look at that. As we approach Ike, we throw up KerbNet and we only find, so far, one anomaly, pretty far south there. We'll mark it on our map there for later investigation. We do some checking later. We go into a high elliptical orbit to try to search the other side of Ike while we're here. We don't find anything else, but we do find this gorgeous approach of Ike. It more resembles the stock moon, kind of a hybrid between the stock moon and stock Minmus, and actually je ne sais quoi Minmus, for the roughness of the terrain here. Look at that. So we wait till the anomaly is at least inside sunlight before we get ready for our landing. We decouple the, what was the Moho rover, getting ready to get down to Ike. After we clear it from that scaffolding, we're going to put Valentina Kerbin in one of the command seats to safely bring this thing down. Give Valentina a chance to stretch her legs. She hasn't landed on any surface yet. And there she goes. That way, in case we lose contact with the main mission craft, Valentina can still bring this thing down to the surface safely. Interestingly enough, those reaction wheels are strong enough, in spite of the wild center of mass, that Valentina has full command over this craft, and she can put it down where she needs to. In which case we are picking a small crater somewhere on the equator there. That way we have at least somewhat of a flat space. Not that crater, but the crater more to the west of it. There we go. We're going to stop just short of that, so that when we apply thrust, we should end up directly above that crater. And there we go. That looks reasonably flat. The safe altitude is only 3.5 kilometers according to Kerbal Engineer. The mountains are not nearly as tall as they are on stock Ike. You won't have to worry about colliding with these as much. You know, for a relatively flat spot, this crater is still pretty hilly. Look at that. Kind of slopes in one direction. And you can see those characteristic ridges that we see in many of the je ne sais quoi craters. And there we go. Come on, Valentina, you can touch this thing down. Touchdown. There we go. And then she evens out the craft. Oh, wrong way. There we go. And now Bob is ready to bring the Duna lander down to the surface of Ike. And he's going to try to land it right where Valentina is, if he can. But he's got the help of Kerbal Engineer for that purpose. All we gotta do is clear the scaffolding, and then we ignite that other engine, and we are ready to descend. Just like Minmus, Ike is ridiculously easy to land on in this version. There we go, we line up with the crater, we get ready to do our descent burn. Here it comes. I'm kind of embarrassed, actually. The craft we ended up sending up here were overkill for Ike. They were overkill for Duna. Hey, there's no kill like overkill. Look at that targeting. Way to go, Bob. Don't worry, you'll be able to touch this thing down safe. You've got some of the best flight controls at your disposal there. You have a Probodobodyne Octo 2 aboard that craft, remember. See, that's not so bad, Bob. We didn't bother with landing legs. With the experience we had on Moho, we just didn't need them. We got a nice flat bottom on that bottom tank there to touch down with. And there we go. Touchdown! Bob is going to join Valentina on the rover, and then we're going to go take a look around Ike. Taking a look around this crater first, though. Hey, look at that. There again, there's that ridge that I see often on JNSQ craters. Okay, look at that surface gravity. All aboard there, Bob. Of course, you are the consummate scientist, and you are here to do some science for us. Much the same workflow we did on Minmus, on the Moon, and on Moho. And much the same stability problems as we had on Moho as well. Look at that. The author of Bon Voyage has reached out to me. He tells me that World Stabilizer is responsible for these funny orientations. And he's going to do a version of Bon Voyage for me to test later on for Kerbal Space Program 1.8. So thank you very much, Maha, I believe he calls himself, for that. We're going to try to find something that we can take home and take apart with a pickaxe, but these little rocks are just the standard scatter. But we do find that anomaly on the surface. It's one of the random monoliths. Look at that. Specialized command modules. A very expensive node to unlock. We get it for free here. At least Ike's monolith is quite readily accessible. Gotta find out what happened to Duna's random monolith. Hey, downhill. We can at least coast this thing down there. We don't have to worry about trying to drive it up or fly it up. Valentina being in firm command of this rover. Ah yes, the green random monoliths. Way to go, squad! We'll mark it here with a flag, with the only flag we're going to plant on the surface of Ike. Simple enough, Ike Randolith. And there you go, Valentina. Never give up, never surrender. Not bad. It wasn't until we got up to the highlands that we actually found something worth picking up. But it was too far away and too far uphill, and this rover is just way too unstable on its wheels, so we end up flying it over with the excess delta V that we have on here. We do touch down. It is slightly darker red compared to the rest of the terrain. As we approach it, it turns out to be, well, you'll see in a moment, Duna ejecta. So, something impacted Duna and sent this debris flying all the way up to Ike. Wow. Not bad at all, and worth 240 science as well. There you go, Bob, get that thing loaded up so we can bring it back home. The mountains, well, the tallest peaks are only 3.5 kilometers up in this version, so the mountains aren't as impressive here, but they're still pretty impressive. I'll take that. But the best is yet to come. Aside from the usual lowlands, midlands, highlands, and mountains, we do have poles, so there are 5 biomes here. But at the very top, you know I like to go look for things. And we do find something very, very interesting up here. First, we're going to right this rover. There we go. Oh, uh-oh. What have we got here? Well, so that's where the mohole went. Not bad, Galileo team, not bad at all. I keep thinking that Ike and Minmus are twins, and well, maybe they're fraternal twins. We bring the rover a little closer with its remaining Delta V, and then Valentina goes exploring. Oh my goodness. With Ike's much lower gravity, this sinkhole is much safer to approach. But I imagine there are some terrain fissures down there that I don't want to be messing with. It shouldn't be more than 1.5 kilometers deep. But no, we do not have the EVA fuel for this. Come on, Valentina, get out of there. Come on, Val. Oh my goodness. Yeah, the rover's over there. Get back over there. The camera's messing with us at the poles like it likes to do. Whew. Thank goodness for that. We may go exploring there one day, but not today. Not with the resources we have right now. In the meantime, Doug has been waiting patiently in orbit for our heroes to return to the lander. We stopped short this time just to make sure we don't collide with the lander. And yeah, we got those orientation problems, but that's okay. We know how to deal with those. We do have enough EVA propellant to bring Valentina back to the lander, and she's got half of the science aboard the experiment storage unit. So we'll get her aboard there. And then Bob will come with the science he's been carrying in his pocket all this time. Here he comes. I'm not sure what happened, but Bob here seemed to pick up an extra experiment. It was... well, let's find out what it was if we can. Everything else got loaded aboard safe. So we must have 2 surface samples already. Not a problem. With the main mission craft directly above us, it is time for Val and Bob to rejoin Doug up in space. The lower stage of this lander does not have enough Delta V to close orbit by itself, but that lunar excursion module has more than enough to make up for it. And there we go. In fact, we end up wasting a lot of it here, getting that second intersect up there. Here we go. Okay. Once Val lines this thing up, she's going to dock and we're going to bring the science aboard the main mission craft, and then we're going to plan our trip back home. We are still a long way out from transferring back to Kerbin, so we're going to be hanging out above Ike for, well, quite some time. It looks like 1 year and 100 days. Well, 1 year and 100 days later, we plan an ejection that brings us back down to Duna and uses Duna as a slingshot. There's no point in going all the way down to low Duna orbit and then ejecting. No, we can use this elliptical orbit to our advantage, so our ejection back out to Kerbin is a mere 500 meters per second. Not bad. Not bad at all. Bye-bye, Ike. Look at those craters. Kinda like Moho, those craters did not represent different biomes, and believe me, I looked, but hey, that's okay. Approaching Duna for our ejection out to Kerbin, we'll get one last look at Duna's gorgeous surface. Look at that. In case you're wondering how I timed that, well, I turned the user interface off at 5 seconds and I just counted down in my head. Easy enough. There we go. Oh, we'll stop there. We can do fine adjustments once we're back in Kerbin's sphere of influence. Well, bye-bye Duna, bye-bye Ike. And just like Eve and Gilly, we'll be seeing you guys another time. Back where we started. Finally, just in the middle of year 2, the good ship Overkill makes its way back to Kerbin. Lowering periapsis to about 37, I end up overdoing it there, but that's okay. We still have plenty of RCS fuel aboard that command craft. We can adjust the approach from up here. Our approach speed is pretty easy actually, so hey. I tried seeing if I could eject much sooner. The ejections and insertions totaled in excess of 10 kilometers per second, and while this ship is overkill for what it is, still, it did not quite have enough to do that on such short notice. Oh well. Good thing we don't have a life support add-on installed, but hey, that's okay, these guys love Kerbin, they love space. Final adjustments, there we go, 37 kilometers, exactly where we need to be. Once again, I did this approach in 2 different takes and put them together because of that cloud problem we've been running into. And this was about the same approach speed that we had coming back from Eve, so it wasn't too different. The only difference is we're approaching on the night side this time. Hi Kerbin, we're home! And this time I'm not going to shortchange you, I'm going to film this whole approach and show it to you, including a beautiful Kerbin sunrise. Also, I've got this particular quick save filed away somewhere in case Galileo team wants to look at this sunrise and see if they can fix this problem we've been running into, where the sun doesn't brighten up until quite a ways above the atmosphere. So hey, just reach out to me, say you want the save, I'll send it your way. It's all pretty much stock parts, so if you do get something that says you don't have a mod installed, well that's okay, you can just ignore that craft. These parts here are stock. Look at that. Couldn't have asked for better timing. From a sunrise to a sunset, and then back again to a sunrise later. Splashdown in 2 years and 200 days. Welcome back, guys! And we bring back over 26,000 science! We'll plan a trip out to the asteroid belt in the next episode. Until then, I'm not Manly, fly safe.